atheists are opposing them. Now, let's introduce our contestants. We have
James from EU,
Sam from EU,
Ash from the Atheists,
and James from the Atheists.
no worries. Now, we are going to have you have 3 minutes each. Oh, you can between 2 and 3. That's all right. Okay. Stop when you're ready, but we'll cut you off at 3. And we'll have one speaker from each team, and then the others. And I would also just like to ask our members of the EU here today. You're also involved in the Maths Society.
we do happen to both be involved in the Maths Society, yes.
How does that fit in with your belief system?
Who was it who said that God created the integers and man everything else? We don't necessarily agree, but it doesn't disprove the fact that they go together.
So, if there were a God, would not pi be a rational number?
Why would you want that? What? You've got transcendental numbers, they sound inspiring, don't they?
So it's part of the mystery of life, isn't it?
That's right, part of the mystery of life.
Absolutely. Alright, so now, let's kick it off. You're starting off with the affirmative, are you? So again, our question is, Kevin Rudd is the new Messiah? In the affirmative, here is James.
First of all, we'd just like to mention briefly that none of us know that much about politics at all, but then having seen the quality of the debate on this topic yesterday, we can't actually do that much worse than them. So, the new Messiah, we thought we'd explain very briefly what a Messiah is. Messiah is an anointed one, someone chosen for greatness. I actually happened to be in Parliament House on the day that Kevin Rudd became the leader of the Labour Party. It was quite an exciting time to be in Canberra. And certainly there was this sense that he was destined for greatness. It's not the first time that the word Messiah has been used to describe someone other than Jesus. We have King Cyrus of Persia early on, BC years. We also have, for the Crow supporters out there, the Messiah who led you to the 97 and 98 grand finals victoriously. And so, to suggest that Kevin Rudd is the new Messiah is no completely outrageous thing. We'd like to mention that anoint probably does not mean he's been doused with oil in the Labour Party back rooms. You never know. You're not quite sure what happens back there. But anyway, we certainly get this feeling that Kevin Rudd is destined for greatness the way he has moved on through the Labour Party over the last couple of years as the leaders have fallen left and right and around him. And I'd say personally, I would hope that he becomes the new Prime Minister rather soon in an election year. After all, he can hardly be worse than Johnny. Thank you.
Thank you, James. On to our first speaker in the opposing team, the atheist team.
Okay, this might be a bit strange. I agree. We have no idea about politics. Apart from that, he did actually destroy my first point about being anointed being in oil. I personally doubt that because nobody is baptized in oil anymore, except for chickens, and we eat those. When we were first given this topic, apart from swearing quite profusely, my initial thought was, Kevin Rudd cannot be the new Messiah as there wasn't an old one. But we are going, of course, by the biblical definition of Messiah being Jesus Christ, Son of God, and so on. We are the atheists. We have no belief in God or Jesus. He may have existed, but he certainly wasn't here to save the world. The other terms of Messiah, the football definition of Messiah, political, whatever it might be, greatness is judged after the event. You can't be the one who's going to save the world now. You can only be the one who saves the world once the world is saved. So, if we're assuming Kevin Rudd's going to be the Messiah of Australia, because, let's face it, I like Australia, don't get me wrong, we're not that big in terms of the world. We like to do stuff, we've got some great stuff happening here or coming out from here, but a simple, I think the Labour Club tried to call themselves a grassroots movement or something like that. A grassroots movement in Australia is not going to affect the rest of the world. Not much grass at all, thank you. In any case, because I forget my point really easily, a grassroots movement in Australia is not going to change the world, most likely. We might find out in the future that he saves Australia and that leads to the rest of the world being absolutely brilliant. It might not. In any case, if we assume that he's going to save Australia, that's great. But Australia not really in good position. Howard has been doing crappy things. I think we're all mostly saying that. We're uni students, we're supposed to not like Howard, with the exception of the Liberal Club. Hi. In any case, Australia not in a brilliant position as far as lots of things go. I'm not into politics. I'm not into holding microphones well. I'm not into politics. I don't know what exactly is wrong with Australia, what needs to be saved exactly. But in any case, there is nothing to suggest now that he will save it. He might, I hope he does. We need some good things happening. We certainly need more education, more funding for universities, which is what I've been told he's standing for, which is always good. But saying these things is all well and good. He needs to actually do them before he can be considered a messiah, and there's no evidence to suggest that he will do that. And being the atheist, that's what we like. We're not saying he can't be the messiah, we're not saying he won't be the messiah, but he's not now, and we will never agree until we see some evidence for it. I think I'm out of ideas then. Thank you.
All right, thanks, mate.